Hello everybody, welcome to the Real Life Health Show. My name is Paul, I'm here with my friend Steph. I've been eating a 100% raw vegan diet now. It's been almost 30 years, and I think there's not many people in the world eating as much as I have raw foods, but Steph has been doing it for 35 years. And we're going to discuss this today and talk about this today. I recently saw a video of two long-term raw foodists talking about how they're getting off the raw food diet and why they're going back into eating cooked food. And that's not what we're doing here today. And we're not making this video because that video was out, but we're here to show you it's very possible to eat a raw vegan diet. It's very possible to do it and be healthy. Steph, what got you into discovering raw foods or the raw food diet almost 35 years ago?
Well, I started more than 35, but 35 has been 100%. Mostly I was just trying to get back to basics, trying to learn how to take care of myself, provide my own food and such. And I started when I was 19 working on a farm called Arbor Vitae Farm in California that grew amazing fruits. And I just started eating fruits and I kind of kept going.
Well, when you were growing up, were you sick? What made you stop eating meat and go vegan and then go raw vegan? What made you do that?
So I read the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi when I was 16 or so. And just decided, I was like, he's vegetarian, ahimsa living. I was like, me too, I'm vegetarian. I think I had heard of vegetarianism before that, but I otherwise grew up on a terrible standard diet, just very, very poor food.
Any diseases or anything?
No.
You were 16, so no. So when you started, did you just start eating more fruits and were you like a fruitarian or did you just...
Right, well, on the farm there when I was 19, I'd always loved foraging and such, but on the farm there, the fruits were so incredible. And the guy, George Stevens, who got me started, was just such a wise, mystical farmer and had the most amazing fruits ever. That I was just so inspired by that and it was so hot. And I saw that I could eat watermelons and figs and things and keep working even when it was 116 degrees and everybody else was falling down after eating rice and stuff. So I was like, fruits are awesome. And I just kept doing that. And then in winter, I was more focused at first when I was a teenager on providing my own food and gathering and such. So I was trying like acorns and such in winter. And
where was that located?
In California.
Okay. At that time, other than Gandhi, did you know anyone else eating a vegetarian diet?
No.
And when did you first hear about raw foods?
Well, I'd never heard of raw foods, but then my girlfriend got us to live with friends of hers, and they were Instincto raw eaters, and they became my best friends.
Now, Instincto
so that's the
raw
first time I
foods,
heard of raw food.
That's people that eat raw meat, right?
They also eat meat, but focused on fruit. But
I think that started in France, and these people called Instinctos, where they ate pretty much a raw food diet, but they included meat in their diet.
Yeah, totally raw, but they also include animals. Yeah.
So you met these people, you heard about raw. Did you start eating? Well, you weren't eating raw meat at the time, but you were
vegetarian. I've been vegan since. As soon as I heard of vegan, I was vegan.
So did you decide I'm gonna start? Did you read a book, or did you decide I'm gonna stop eating cooked food? Where did you learn?
No. So it's more like it's like I approached everything in life when I was you know how teenagers can sometimes be. I was like, I'm gonna start with zero and add only the things that make sense to me. And so, what's the minimum I can impact the world? Negatively. I wasn't so much impacting the world positively, but I was trying not to be a negative influence on the world. So I started with nothing and just went like, what's the food around I can grab and eat? What can I grow? So I wanted to grow my own food. I gather my own food. And so I started from that end, and I just never added anything after fruits and vegetables and, occasional nuts. But I just didn't feel the need for anything else.
Sure. So after eating, do you take any supplements?
I do B12.
Okay. And how old are you?
60.
60. Any issues over the years with your health? No. Okay. Do you go to doctors? I have been to a doctor, and that's part of the reason I do the B12 thing. I've gotten blood tests, and sometimes it's been at least what they consider to be low, and so I've supplemented with that just to
in case that's a problem. But I haven't noticed any symptoms.
But with all your blood tests, nothing else out of range?
No.
Okay. I know you travel sometimes, but when you're home and everything's going great, what's your ideal diet like? Give us a day. Give us an example.
Well, it's changed a little now that I have a wife and son. I used to be a little narrow-minded and just eat out of my garden. Like I wouldn't even eat what's in my neighbor's garden. I just eat from my farm. And we have a lot, so it works most of the time. But now that I have a wife and son, they want all the things they want every day, and I don't produce everything every day. So I've been buying a lot more food than I used to. But there have been years when I didn't buy.
Well, do you eat?
But
do you graze? I mean, do you graze, or do you have set meal times? How late do you eat? How early?
That's also changed with family. Now we sit down and have meals. I used to just sort of eat under the tree.
Okay. So,
but mostly just the fruits we grow. We grow on our Kipahula farm. We grow mostly durian, mangosteen, rambutan, all these things, and a wide range of fruits that. So we have fruits all through the year.
Steve's in Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii now. He has a farm. And do you sell your produce to the mail, or is it just locally?
Oh no, the ag restrictions going to the mainland.
Okay,
we're not able to.
So how's your energy? How many hours a night do you like to get to sleep?
That's changed quite a bit with my wife and son too. But I'd say I generally get less than 8, but something close to like 7 or something like that.
Okay.
I usually get up. It's not because of raw or anything like that. Well, not that I know of. But I just have farmer's hours. As soon as it's light, I'm up and going.
Sure. And do you find yourself eating it like over the years? Like, do you eat late at night? Do you eat early in the day? Or do you never even thought of that? You just eat when you're hungry?
Yeah, I don't think about it. I eat when I'm hungry, or just keep working and don't eat even if I'm hungry usually. No. But I don't. I don't eat late at night. That doesn't seem like that doesn't feel good. But
over the years, people have attempted to eat a raw food diet, but when I say we're eating 100% raw food diet, there aren't too many people out there in this world that are doing that. Why do you think that's so?
Well, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think, I think you would get 99% of the benefit with, I don't know what percentage, but I don't think there are good reasons to cook things. There are a lot of things that you aren't very good raw. It's
Absolutely,
fine.
Yeah.
There are lots of good sustainable foods. I just like to just keep things really simple, not have to think about it. Like, I'm sure there's some times when something that wasn't raw vegan would have been like more healthful in a situation, especially when traveling and such. Sometimes you can't find the thing you exactly like. I'm heading to Norway to be with my family. And in Norway, there's not much produce. It's not a big produce place.
In cold environments. Cold. If somebody's living in Minnesota, it might benefit them instead of eating to a raw candy bar to maintain that overall status. They have some soup in the winter.
Right. And so I think it's a limitation of my personality and my.
So when you go to Norway,
to be like so narrow and just say I have to be 100%, and I just can't look at anything else. I don't see it as food, so I don't even consider it. I think it's but we're humans. We have a really hard time sort of finding the right balance. Like my son, he's 8 years old. He's been all raw vegan until very recently, and I've just encouraged him to expand a little bit, but I'm not sure how to expand just a little bit and not too much, and I don't know where that line should be. So it's I'm very happy for him to have, especially like harvesting. So he's in Norway. One of the things he's done is gone out in the forest, harvested nettles, and steamed them. I think that's a fantastic food. I'm not going to eat it. Why? Well, I think it is actually a fantastic food. It's wild, it's gathered, it's beautiful. I have had it before, 40 years ago or something, and I remember it tasting very nice. So I'm encouraging him to eat that, but I'm not going to.
So just to clarify here, that we're not knocking cooked foods. There are people out there that, do things for different reasons. I mean, I personally have no desire to eat cooked food. And I think what Steph is saying is if you do have a desire to eat it. If you do it, with, I don't want to say limitations, but with wisdom, it can be healthy. But, even though we're eating all raw, because we like the health benefits of it, it's not something that, if we ate a small amount of cooked food from a diet standpoint, we might be just as healthy from a lifestyle standpoint. But there's other emotional things that tie into there and convenience things and all that. Is that what I'm hearing you correctly or no?
Sure, and also just ecological, just life. My impact on the world. How can I be a positive influence in the world? And so I never talk about. This is the first time I'm talking about. I am doing it right now. Talking about raw food and sort of in a promotional sense of like, hey, you can do this. This is possible. You can be really healthy on a raw vegan diet. You can have plenty of energy and be great. So don't let anybody tell you it's not possible. It is very possible.
It's possible, folks. 35 years, almost 30 years, 100% raw vegan. And I guess I'm not 100% raw because a couple of years I tried to explore back to cooked food and it didn't work. But I found out that I need raw food. But a long time we're doing this. It's possible. Another thing besides the environmental impact and all these other things, I don't think people talk about this one enough. And maybe I'm wrong. It's the first time I'm asking you about this. But what I find, at least with me and others, is I find people, the more processed they cook their food or process their food in general, they get worldly emotions. And I think the closer we eat to eating this way, we don't as much. I know there's other things that create stress in our life. I can't say I never get angry or upset, but I find it happening much less than everyone around me. So do you think there's a big connection between the diet we eat and the more we process the food and our emotions?
It does feel like it. I don't have. I'm not making any particular claim. But I find the same as you. I find myself the calmest in the room at all times. And that might just be our personalities or whatever. But I do feel what we eat does influence all parts of us. And so that's part of why I choose this. It just feels good to be on this diet, and it's the most pleasing, sensual, wonderful experience to eat these fruits that are given to us.
What do you think when people say, "Oh, it's impossible to eat raw vegan and be healthy"?
Okay, well, so it's possible. Well, I'm not necessarily saying that anybody has to do it, but it's. I don't find it any trouble, and I don't find any negative effects on myself. But
it's not impossible. I mean,
it's definitely not impossible.
Yeah.
I just visited my friend on the way here, who's over 40 years.
So that's really wonderful. And we discussed no supplements except vitamin B12. He visits a doctor. What about exercise? I mean, besides your farm work, which takes a lot of work, do you find yourself exercising?
Yeah, I would like to, and I'll do more. But I've just been busy, starting a new farm and building a new house, etc., along with family, of course.
Yes. And what about people that are eating like meat, the carnivore diet and all this? What's your opinion about that?
I don't really have an opinion. I just so appreciate the kindness and gentleness, and eating animals just doesn't seem to fit that. Then I read Gandhi and just very, very much resonated with his ahimsa approach, and so that's the way I want to treat people and animals and everything around me. But what we eat affects ourselves very much, and what we eat affects other people around us. Children grow up being influenced by what we eat, and our whole world is so greatly affected by what we eat. Aside from climate and the individual lives of each animal, I'm really moved by their experience as well, and so I want to support a beautiful life for all the plants and animals and microbes in the world.
Do you ever crave cooked food?
No,
Never. Remember
I never did. Even when my transition to I've not had any. So that's one thing where maybe my experience is an outlier. Anyone can do any of these things. It's totally possible. It's just I realize that other people have emotional connections or social connections that make some changes difficult in their life of any kind, aside from diet. But I never had any of those. I never, the most difficulty I've had is not having while traveling, not having something that's exactly what I want at some point, and just not eating anything for a little while. That it's very.
What
minor.
about fasting? Have you fasted a lot over the years?
I wouldn't say a lot. Sometimes while traveling, by not finding something, not being in a place where, I'm just going to Norway and there's very little produce there. But happily the berries in the forest are starting to really take off. So I'm going to be eating bowl loads of wild berries.
Now, in terms of fruit versus salad greens and vegetables, do you say on your farm, at least at home, you eat a good mixture of both, or do you gear to it's mostly fruit? How does that work?
Yeah, it's almost it. Our farm is almost all fruit.
So do you eat vegetables? Would you consider yourself?
Yeah, I eat some vegetables. I don't. It's difficult to be so focused, be so like 100% pure. But I don't really want a label or anything. I don't like. But that is something that applies. But like fruitarian or something like that, I'm like, people use it different ways. I'm just happy not to have. I don't need to call it anything. But great preponderance of my calories come from fruits.
Now, in terms of fruits, like there are some people that limit. I don't want to use the word limit, but they eat understanding. They can eat a certain amount with, but there's some people that eat a lot of fruit. Like, where would you consider yourself?
I eat a lot of fruit.
Okay, so give us calories wise. Do you have any idea of ballpark figures?
So I did when I was a good friend of mine is a professor, or not, he wasn't a good friend of mine, but a friend of my good friend, but also a friend of mine, is a professor of nutrition, and he did the breakdown one time, and it came out fine what I was eating. Except no B12. But I haven't done any, I've done no, I'm not thinking of nutrients when I'm eating, ever, for the last, 30 something, for most of the last 30 years, I've not thought about quantities of nutrition or protein or how many minerals or anything. I've not thought about nutrition. I've just thought about, here I'm growing this. This is super yummy. I'll eat this. And I'm not someone, I don't limit fruit. I noticed some people, visitors come and try to eat what I'm eating because they think oh, this is paradise. I'm going to eat what you eat. And they, maybe a radical transition to eating tons of fruit. Maybe people's constitution.
When you say tons, how many calories did the number come out?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. That was a long time.
Give us an example. Do you think you eat 5 pieces of fruit a day or 50 pieces of fruit a day? Or do you gear towards more 50?
Yeah, it's more that end. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I eat a lot of fruit.
Okay.
It's like piles. My son and I, we have our kitchen table piled up with durians, and we go through them.
Durians. He grew with durians.
Yeah.
Amazing. In Hawaii.
Yeah, when you have durians, you're not thinking, oh, I wish I had some other kind of food.
Sure. How many durians do you go through in a day?
Oh, quite a few.
Wow.
Yeah, no, my son is small, and he eats, I've seen him eat 8 durians in one sitting.
Besides the fat you get from durian, do you eat any other fat in your diet?
Avocados.
Okay.
Yeah, we eat avocados. My son doesn't like avocados. But I eat an avocado most days.
Are you growing greens on your farm?
We usually grow greens. Right now we aren't because I'm too scattered right now.
Okay.
I have 2 farms and
I'm running back and forth. Greens on your farm. Okay.
So usually, yeah, we're gonna have probably when I get back, this is going to be one of the first things, is to establish new vegetable gardens in our new farm.
So give us an example. Like you're traveling right now, it's mango season. You got a transfer stop here in South Florida, and you're on your way to go to another country. Give us an example. What you ate today?
Just mangoes.
How many?
It's hard because I ate parts of
Okay.
probably 25 mangoes.
25 mangoes. Okay.
But did I eat full? I
Sure.
ate maybe like 3 or 4 full ones.
Okay. So just pieces of mangoes here. Okay. So how much water do you drink?
So at home, when I'm at our main farm, I just drink coconuts and juicy fruits. But otherwise, I drink water. I don't know how much. Probably
Okay.
not enough.
Okay. Okay. Well, all this is quite interesting. And do you have a website on your farm or anything? No. Okay.
No.
Well, I got in touch with him. None of you can't. So but if anyone has a specific question, post it below, and I'll ask him. And when I say there's different ways to eat raw and do its work with you and all this, I mean, we definitely eat a little bit different because I don't eat an abundance amount of fruit, but I definitely don't desire cooked food. I do slight bit amount of raw recipes, but not nowhere near as much as I used to. And it's fruit season right now here, so I'm eating mostly fruit. But during the winter time, when there's very little fruit here, then that changes things up. Where he is, it's always fruit season, pretty much.
Yeah, so Hawaii has basically the same seasons as Florida, except our winter doesn't get as wintry. And so there are things that we can grow that go through the winter. And like we have kuini that bears in winter. So we grow fruits to fill the year.
Yeah. Which island are you on?
Maui.
Maui. Wow, that's just amazing, everybody. So I just wanted to bring on here another brother who's been eating a raw vegan diet now, without publicizing it, but just doing it, living as natural as possible to show you it's true, it's real, it's possible. And for me, we all have our goals. I know I had an illness that I overcome, and I got to be very careful. I don't want to go back to a disease state, so I try to help people that are already with the disease get better and so on. And he just lives the life. He doesn't have to promote or talk about it. He just loves the way he feels, and it's a wonderful thing. And grows fruit, which is so amazing. So thank you so much for taking the time out to come here and talk to the audience.
Thanks, Paul, for your generosity, and lovely to be with you.
All right.
Thanks.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.